Landing a meeting with a high-profile person can feel impossible, but I'm here to tell you it's not. I done it myself, connecting with Patrick Bet-David, Ryan Serhant, Neil Dhingra, Daniel G, Sean Cannell, and much more. I'll share you my story and give you practical, innovative steps to make it happen for yourself. Are you ready? Let's get into it. A few years ago, I set my sight on meeting the one and only Patrick Bet-David, someone I admire for his business strategies and his mindset. But this wasn't about sending a cold email and hoping for the best. I knew I had to build something that will catch his attention. That's how I started my podcast and created Elevate Podcast, a space to bring industry's leaders together. Through persistence, preparation, and positioning, I didn't just meet PBD, I sat down with him for a one-on-one podcast. So what's the key takeaway here? Opportunities don't just happen, you have to create them. What is really frustrating is that high-profile individuals aren't going to respond unless they see you as credible. That's one of the reasons I built my credibility by launching a podcast during COVID and creating Elevate, the event, a platform that attracted over 900 people in its first year. It gave me a story and a brand worth sharing. Now, what other practical advice I can give you? Number one, you just have to start. Start where you are. Launch a simple project like a blog. It could be a YouTube channel, a small networking event. You just have to start. And then number two, highlight what you built. Even small wins like helping one client achieve success can build credibility over time. And then you have to do your research. Before reaching out to anyone, I made sure I understood what Patrick Bet-David stood for, his values, his recent projects, and even his business priorities. That research allowed me to tailor my pitch to show him why our conversation mattered. Now, how can you apply this in a practical way? It's so easy in 2025. Everything is public. Consume their content, watch their interview, read their book, and follow their social media. Everything is public these days. And then find a connection point. Identify something specific like a recent project or a shared value that you can mention when you reach out. And step three, offer value. When I reached out to Patrick, I didn't just ask for his time. I showed him the value of being on my podcast. For him, it was an exposure to a new audience in Quebec, especially a French nation, a French market, and being part of an event that featured other influential leaders. So remember, customize your pitch. Instead of asking for help, offer collaboration. Most high-profile people, they get asked a lot. They get asked for a picture, they get asked for a podcast, they get asked for an event. So you gotta come with different strategies. You gotta offer them some value before asking yourself something in return. The way to do that is focus on their goals. Highlight how your platform or ideas align with their priorities. You want something even more practical? You want something that I use personally, a secret of mine? I used to create personalized video page using tools like Loom or BombBomb. It's more engaging than a text and it always stands out. And most of the time, I get a return. One of the other ways I connected with big names was through mutual connection, and this one is my favorite. I brought in guests who already had a credibility in the industry, and that opened doors to others like Patrick Bet-David. You can name Ryan Serhant, Neil Dhingra, Daniel G, and who else? Sean Cannell. Work for your network. Start with people in your circle who might have connection to the individual, and then ask for a warm introduction. A recommendation from a trusted mutual contact is incredibly powerful. Remember, I got to Andy Elias is because of Patrick Bet-David. And then, my friends, you have to be creative and persistent. That's something that I can't really teach you, but you need to do it. I didn't stop at one email or message. I followed up respectfully, stayed consistent, and thought outside the box. If you want to stand out, sometimes you need to get creative. I remember like it was yesterday, to get Patrick Bet-David, you know how many years it took me? 4 damn years. Yes, 4 years. I used to go to his conferences multiple times, send him DM, send him email. It took me 4 years to get this podcast. Everything is possible. What you need to do is be polite but persistent. Follow up after 5-7 days if you don't hear back, especially if it's a high profile, maybe every month. Try different mediums if email doesn't work. Try LinkedIn, Instagram DMs, or even sending handwritten letters. You're standing out there. And then finally, when the meeting comes, you got to be ready. Don't waste your time. For my podcast with Patrick, I prepared meaningful questions and made sure every minute counted. I remember we had a whole agenda for this podcast, the whole team. We wrote down all the key points and we stuck to it. And lastly, we were very professional. We were on time. We were dressed appropriately and keep the meeting very focused. At the end of the day, friends, connecting with high-profile individuals is about adding value, showing respect, and being relentless in your pursuit. If I can do it, so can you. Start building, start reaching out, and make it happen today. Who's the one person you want to meet? Drop their name in the comment section. I'm very curious to know. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to see this.